Hi again, here we are to continue talking about CSS. So this is another short introductory video to kind of just get you started on CSS. And in the last two videos, we've been just kind of examining this page and looking at it in the inspector and then, kind of editing the style sheet in brackets. So I talked about selectors, and so far we've used the tag selector. So any tag here, paragraph, div, footer, you could style any of these, the span tag, the UL, I could style the LI tag, right? So you could name any of those and set a style for them. You'll notice that my page has two ULs. It's got a UL with some LI tags in it, and then it's got another UL with some LI tags in it up here. I'm going to try and find that. It's this one. You know what you can do is we can right-click on it and inspect it, right? Yeah, there it is, right? So it's in this call out, right? So, if I have two of these and I want to use the tag selector, maybe it doesn't work because maybe this one up here is supposed to have a different set of styles from the UL down at the bottom here, right? Okay, so how do you do that? Well, what we can do is we can get a little more detailed with our selectors, right? You'll see what I did is I gave this UL a class name where it says article tag list. So if I want to style this one, I can use the class name instead of the tag name to as my selector. Okay, let's try it. So maybe these tags down here, they should all be, I don't know, red or something, right? So what I'll do is you can see it says class article tag list, right? And the UL, when you set styles on this, you can use it to kind of style the child LI elements, right? And we can also, I'll show you another way where we can target these LI tags within this particular parent item too. So here we go. Let's set a style for them, right? So to target a class name, what you do is you use the dot followed by the class name. So in my case, the class name is article tag list. So I'm going to say dot article tag list. Okay? And maybe we'll do this. We'll say list style. And there's a few different styles. There's a dot style that we're using here. That's the default. And maybe what we'll do is we'll change it to the square, right? I don't know, right? So we'll do square there. I'll save, and then I'll go to my page, and you can see that these are all squares, and these are still circles right there. You can even customize this, right? Maybe, I don't even like the square, right? I don't even want a bullet. I just want to have a list of my tags. So what I'm going to do is maybe I'll set the list style type to none. Okay? And then you can see that those go away. Now, I have all this space here, right? And if you recall from our last conversation, we talked about the box model, and you can see when I click on the UL, you can see over here it's got 40 pixels of padding on the left side and then 18 pixels of margin at the top and bottom. So maybe I want to get rid of those, right? To move this over, right? And maybe remove the space here. So let's try that. Let's go in here and we can say padding 0, margin 0, right? Now again, that's only going to be affecting this UL because we're targeting the class name, right? Let's go take a look at that again, right? So here we're targeting the element on the page, any element that happens to have the class name. The dot signifies a class. The class name article-tag list, okay, which is this guy. So we'll refresh, and you can see that got rid of the padding. And then if I wanted to get rid of this, oh yeah, I guess I got rid of the margin too, right? Okay. It doesn't affect this list up here, okay? So also, let's do another example with that. You can see on my page here, I have, let's go back to the HTML there. You can see that I have in the article, I have a div, and then I have a header, and then I have an H1 in here. And I gave this H1, I gave it a class name, article title. So maybe, I have another H1. I'll just add one in here. I'll say H1, and then I'll say, Steve All right, who is that? Yeah, Steve Krug. Steve Krug says, and this will be like kind of a title that comes before the quote from Steve Krug, right? So I've got the block quote here by Steve Krug, and then there's the H1 where we're talking about this block quote here. And when I refresh that, it says Steve Krug says, but the style of this is the same as the title, and they shouldn't be the same, right? This one's going to look different than the other one. Okay, so this one up here, it has this class name, article title, right? So what I'll do is I'll copy the article title. I'll go to the CSS file, and this H1 right here was the style that we used for the H1 up here, but actually we want that one to just be, just get its own style. So we'll use the class name article title instead. So that will only affect this guy, right? So let's save and refresh again, and you can see this one is different now than the original title, right? Okay. And you can add your own class names to things. So, if I wanted this new title down here to have a different style, we could give it a class name. Let's try it. So we'll go down here and we'll say, H1 class equals, and you can give it any thing you want. Let's say quote title, right? And then we can style that, too. We could say dot quote title as our selector, follow it up with the curly braces, and then put a style in here. Maybe this is going to be, font family, I don't know, Georgia, font size. I don't like it being twice the font size. Let's make it 1.5 M. Color. I know it seems like you should say font color, but for the font color, you just say color. And then we'll give it a color. Let's make it, I don't know, red. There, right? That'll be a ridiculous style, and there it is. Georgia red at 1.5 Ms. So anyway, that'll give you a couple new ideas. We talked about using class names, right? They begin with a dot. Don't type the dot into the value here when into the attribute value, right? So we don't put the dot here. That would be incorrect, right? And then anyway, hopefully that kind of furthers your study of CSS there. And we'll take a closer look at it at selectors too in the future, okay?